Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Congressman Pete Stauber. I represent Minnesota's 8th Congressional District. I'm here today to talk about the importance of Enbridge Replacement Line 3 and what it means for our state and our skilled union workforce and their families. It's kind of ironic that we're having the squad come to this great state of Minnesota and talk negatively about this project. And it's also ironic they most likely flew on aircraft that jet fuel comes from the Rosemont facility, and they want to stop the energy independence. We are going to fight against that type of legislation every day, all day. The fact of the matter is, Enbridge Replacement Line 3 is a good, safe project. It's been vetted, one of the most vetted projects in this entire state, and it has successfully been defended in the courts. Over 5,000 skilled union workers are working this project. That's an economic benefit to them, who, by the way, are our friends and neighbors living in our communities. We have the opportunity today to stand up for energy independence, good paying jobs, a pipeline that needed replaced, was replaced, that's close to 90% completed, and will have an economic benefit for those communities for years to come. They're getting paid the royalties on the barrel of oil that goes through the pipe in their respective communities, in their respective counties. That's important to remember. And the fact of the matter is, projects like these are important for energy independence. As we move forward in this nation into alternative sources of energy, we have to understand there's a just transition. This transition is happening right now, we understand that. But this project, these socialist Democrats that are coming in to protest this project couldn't be more wrong. In northern Minnesota, the constituents that I represent are happy that this project is moving forward, are happy about the economic benefits, are happy about the vetting process, are happy that each and every part of the process was met or exceeded in both environmental standards and labor standards. It is very concerning that these socialist Democrats are coming at the time when the line is almost completed to potentially bring unrest to our communities. We saw unrest a couple of months ago when Hollywood elites came and protested against our way of life and damaged equipment and put our workers' safety in jeopardy. And here in Minnesota, we're not going to stand for that. We're going to protect good-paying jobs, and we are going to protect these skilled workers. I want to thank you all for being here. Behind me, our elected representatives that are going to speak on behalf of this valid project, and then I will stand for questions. The next speaker we have is going to be Interim Senate Majority Leader Mark Johnson.
Well, thank you, Pete. We're very lucky to have somebody who really understands this issue fighting for us in Washington, D.C., so appreciate everything you're doing over there for us. So I'm Senate Majority Leader, Acting Majority Leader, just elected here recently. This pipeline, Enbridge Line 3, runs right through my district, right through the heart of my district. So I'd like to thank you all for being here this morning to talk about this a little bit, hear the other side of the story. So I'd first of all like to welcome the members from the squad in Minnesota. I sincerely hope they come and they enjoy their time here and that we live up to our legacy of Minnesota Nice. But I also hope when they come here to Minnesota that they're here to learn and not just press a narrative and create a narrative that they'd like. I hope they talk to some of our folks. I hope they talk to the 49ers in my district, the 49ers who are finally able to tuck their kids in during the week and not have to be across the country to find a job. I hope they talk to the owners of our small town cafes in places like Hallock and Thief River Falls and Clearbrook. Hope they talk to them after a year of shutdowns to finally have customers flowing through the door, pipeline workers who are there to support those businesses. What I hope they don't do is ask the protesters from Washington, from California, from Oregon, from New York City, who came here to protest the pipeline that didn't understand what was going on in our backyards. And while we're asking questions, I know you folks behind the cameras here, you get derided as media, but we know who you are. You're journalists, you're reporters, you take your job seriously. I hope that you ask the question that Congressman Stauber brought up. And that is, you know, if you didn't end up here on a push pedal plane or a whole grain horse, you know, it's almost hypocritical to come here and deride our industry, our communities for what we need in this state. I'd like you to ask them that question. How did you get here? If you got here by those means, how did you justify the carbon that you burned up? I think what we really have is a hypocritical group that's coming here, folks. So with that, I'd like to turn it over then to Congressman Stauber. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Our next speaker is Deputy Republican Leader, Representative Ann New Brindley.
Thank you, Congressman Stauber, and thank you, Senator Johnson, for those comments. We're here today to support Line 3 and counter the lies that we're hearing from the squad. Here are the facts. The Enbridge Line 3 project is literally the most scrutinized infrastructure project in state history. It has met all permit requirements, every one. There have been agreements signed with tribal governments across northern Minnesota. It has created thousands of jobs that are supporting workers and families across northern Minnesota. And I hope, as all of you, as the press covers this visit today, I want you to be clear with Minnesotans on what is happening. Ilhan and the squad are here in Minnesota today to spread lies, to spread division, and they're doing this here on Labor Day weekend to continue hurting workers in northern Minnesota. But don't take my word for it, don't take our words for it as elected officials. Governor Walz and his administration put out a 6-page letter to address, quote, to address several assertions and statements that present false or misleading information about state agencies and their role in Line 3. This is from Governor Walz and his administration. That was sent to Congresswoman Omar and McCollum. In addition to the 6-page letter, they had an 8-page claim and response, going line by line, refuting the lies put forward by the squad. This needs to be understood by Minnesotans. This needs to be called out. It needs to stop. The project, Enbridge Line 3, is 90% complete. It is set to start moving oil within just weeks. 90% complete. It's time to stop the lies. It's time to stop the division. It's time to stop attacking the workers who are making this happen, who are just doing their best to support their families in northern Minnesota. It's time to end this silliness and move forward. It's time to move forward in northern Minnesota. Enbridge Line 3 is happening. Stop with the lies. Stop with the division.
Thank you, Representative. Our next speaker is going to be Jason George from the Operating Engineers. Jason.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jason George. I'm the elected leader of the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 49. We represent close to 15,000 men and women that build this region, including a couple thousand are building Line 3 right now. I read the letter submitted to President Biden by Congresswoman Omar and Congresswoman McCollum and far too many other DFL elected officials. My first reaction to it was disgust. The portrayal of workers in that letter, my members, Minnesotans, was shocking to me. The ignorance of their statements about our people was very concerning. To say in a letter to the president that you have concerns that workers coming to town are going to be violent or spread COVID, which is what they insinuated, is deplorable. We spoke out strongly against it. I released a pretty harshly worded statement. I asked them, and I'm going to be asking them, I haven't yet, but I'll be sending a personal request to all of them that put their name on that letter to come to my union hall and educate themselves about pipelines and about the workers that build this country, because they're woefully ignorant on these matters. You know, I sat through hundreds of hours and heard from hundreds of anti-pipeline folks that have different opinions than mine. I attended every single pipeline hearing that has ever happened in this state, I believe. I have educated myself about this issue from both sides. Not one of the people that put their name on that letter has ever spoken to me about this project, ever. And that is just disappointing. We need to do better as elected officials, as leaders. We need to be informed before we make bombastic, ignorant comments. And I call on them to do better. It's great to see the bipartisan support here today standing up for workers and this project, which has been approved, is reared by the governor, the governor's commissioners, you know, the courts, the PUC, everybody has, this is the most studied project in the history of pipelines, and they've all looked at the science and the data and approved it. And we have a small group of people that can't accept reality. I thank my friends for being here, you know, including Representative Lissegard. It's tough to be a Democrat right now and stand up for workers and projects like this, and he is, and I'm proud to have him here. I'm very, very proud to stand with Congressman Stauber and all the Republican leaders here too as well. We're very vocally supportive of us and our workers. So I'm glad this is a bipartisan issue. It needs to stop. I agree with Representative New. This kind of attack on workers needs to stop, and it needs to stop right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Our next speaker is going to be Matt Gordon. He owns Gordon Construction and is working on the project. Matt.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. My name is Matthew Gordon. I'm an enrolled member of the White Earth Indian Band of Ojibwe, located in northwest Minnesota. My father and mother started Gordon Construction in 1983. Gordon started out as an excavation company, grew into a commercial building contractor in the 1990s. Then in the early to mid-2000s, started working in the gas and energy sector. During this time, we grew from 5 employees to over 200 today. Gordon is a union contractor that has been signatory for over 20 years. Working with the unions has helped our employees have a sense of pride and security in their economic future, superb health care, and also a viable retirement plan. Gordon started working for Enbridge in 2012 before there was a tribal engagement program. During this time, we have worked on several projects, including buildings, maintenance of the right-of-ways, and integrity digs. In December 2020, we won several scopes of work for the project. Gordon employs 79 Native Americans out of the 259 employees that we had working on the project. Since the project started, Gordon paid out over $8.6 million in payroll. That does not include the benefit package that goes along with the union agreements. Out of the $8.6 million, over $2.6 million went to my fellow Native Americans. To me, that's economic change and prosperity to our employees and also their families. I'd like to point out the fact that Gordon Construction was not the only Native American company working on the Line 3 replacement project. Enbridge has reached out to several other Native contractors and businesses. To name a few are Whitebird Services, Fond du Lac Pipeline Services, Dirt Divers, MB Customs, and First People Insurance. Along with Gordon, we are the founding members of the Minnesota Tribal Contractors Council. The MTCC was formed as an Indigenous contractor business to have a voice in the world we live in. I am honored here to speak today and to voice my opinion in the support of Line 3. Thank you for your time. Go Line 3.
Thank you, Matt. Our next speaker is Ryan Sisted from Better in Our Backyard. Ryan.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sisted. I'm the Executive Director of Better in Our Backyard, and our goal is to promote responsible industrial development in northern Minnesota, and we are proud to support Enbridge's Line 3 replacement project. Before construction and during construction, Line 3 has been a beacon of hope for rural communities and small businesses all across northern Minnesota as they've navigated their way through the COVID-19 pandemic. Enbridge's nearly $3 billion private investment has provided a much-needed shot in the arm to northern Minnesota's economy, resulting in many small businesses seeing record high revenues and many skilled professionals in the pipeline industry having the opportunity to not only make a good wage, but to work close to home. And I've talked to some where this is the first time in their careers where they're actually working within an hour driving distance to home and being able to Senator Johnson's point, actually get home every night and kiss their kids goodnight and have dinner with their families. Simply put, the construction of Line 3 has been a slam dunk for northern Minnesota communities. As we see opposition groups and politicians come from far away in their jet fuel planes to protest Line 3, they fail to recognize that the demand for crude oil products isn't going away anytime soon, and the current alternatives to pipelines isn't nearly as efficient from both a safety and environmental perspective. As we see the two alternative modes of transportation of pipelines are rail or truck. On average, pipelines are 4.5 times safer than rail, and it would take nearly 3,000 diesel-powered tanker trucks to transport the crude oil Line 3 delivers on a daily basis. Both alternatives have three things in common. Both increase the cost of buying fuel for the consumer, which negatively impacts the poor and middle class disproportionately, and both are more carbon intensive, and both are much less safe for communities and for the environment. Line 3 is the most studied pipeline project in Minnesota's history after 6 years of review and over 70 public meetings. And it's well on its way to providing the safest way to transport crude oil, equipped with modern-day technology, and will soon serve as the latest example of truly doing it better in our backyard. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Our next speaker, Representative Dave Lisselgard.
My name is Dave Lisselgard, and I am a proud John F. Kennedy Labor Democrat, but I'm not proud right now. It is amazing that we have to come here and continue to have this conversation right now because elitists from Washington, D.C. want to come to our state and use this as a platform, not about a cause, it's about them. And, you know, to stand with labor, it's 90% done. This is going to happen. It's time to get over it and move on. The men and women of labor did an exceptional job. The company met or exceeded both state and federal standards. It's time to move the project on. Stop using the state of Minnesota for your platform.
Thank you very much. And our last speaker before questions is Senator Paul Gazelka.
Good morning. As I think about this, I actually lived in the Bemidji area for 7 years, and to think that they're going to come up there, fly up there and with using gas, and they're going to tell everybody up there that they don't know what they're doing. I can tell you what the people up in Bemidji think. They're going to say nothing but grandstanding, nothing but hypocrisy. I mean, as we think about what has actually happened here, we're simply taking a 60-year-old pipe that we don't think was that safe, and we're replacing it with a brand new high-tech pipe. I mean, what better environmental thing could you do than to actually replace that pipe?
They're shipping it up through trains, and that's not safe. The old pipe is not safe. As long as we need oil, this is the best thing that we should do, and yet they're trying to stop it. And it started with Biden closing down Keystone Pipeline. Gas prices went up over $3 a gallon. When Governor Walz first became governor, one of his first acts was his Commerce and Energy Commissioner sued the PUC over Line 3 pipeline. So I'm actually really glad that he's standing with us now, because it's been nothing but roadblock after roadblock after roadblock for something that we all need. And so as we're moving forward here, I just think it's really important that you see this bipartisan effort. My friend Jason George from the 49ers, he doesn't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, he just wants blue-collar union jobs, and this was a lot of them. Representative Listlegard, he's been fighting for the Line 3 pipeline and mining. We're joining together over many of these things, but we've had it. We've really had it. And to have the squad come here with Congressman Omar up to Bemidji, flying up there, I mean, such hypocrisy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will stand for questions now. If anyone has any questions, I do want to thank the other elected officials here today that spoke and are here in attendance supporting this great project. It matters, and I think you all have seen what good projects can bring. Look at the support that is behind us right now. Listen to their comments and understand it was a good project for our great state of Minnesota. So we stand for questions. Well, this is a first.
Anticipating what the members of Congress are going to say today, I imagine they're going to say that the resources for Line 3.
Yeah, thank you.
I imagine that they're going to say something along the lines of the resources for Line 3 should be put toward more renewable environmental projects. I'm wondering if you could.
Yeah, I think that I can't really imagine what they're going to say, but the bottom line, let's focus on this project. And if you want to get into renewables, then you ought to support mining in northern Minnesota. So I can't imagine what they're going to say. I can't answer that hypothetical.
I mean, is there any chance that this pipeline could be stopped?
Well, I tell you what, 90+% complete. The men and women that are working on it are proud of the work they did. That skilled labor force put this pipe in with precision, with the best technology, and they're going to finish it up, and that pipeline will be moving oil very, very soon. Yep.
Well, I forgot to mention one thing, and I think everybody here would agree. I had a chance to go up to Thief River Falls and talk and meet with the Highway Patrol that we're staging from a civic center in Thief River Falls. And I just think people need to know that they did an amazing job protecting both the workers, because they were being followed and tracked and they didn't know what was going to happen to them, but frankly also the protesters as they chained themselves to the equipment, all of that. Our police did an amazing professional job, and I don't want to forget that. Thank you.
Well said, Senator. Any other questions?
Given the original Line 3 was responsible for the largest inland oil spill in American history, what makes you think that the new Line 3 is the same?
I think that using the technology, the best technology we have, and we can talk about technology, resources, innovation, and if you want to look at our country, look at the innovation we've done in so many areas, including the moving of oil and transporting along pipelines. And again, I mentioned northern Minnesota, critical minerals mining, iron ore mining. We do it the best. Any other questions before we wrap it up? I think that's it. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Have a safe day and take care of your families. Thank you.